this on? Okay, let's get this show started. I think I'm as nervous as you are. It's great to see everybody. You've come this far. I know you all did great. And I know for one, I'm proud of every single one of you and all the hard work you have done to get this far. At the opening ceremony, I neglected to introduce our New York team. And I would like to do that at this time, and I would like my committee members to please stand. Chastity Miller. She does about a little bit of everything, but she was the oral person. So you can talk to her about the problem. Joanne Curtis. She was the test writer, so you can talk to her about the test. We have Alice Holloran. She created some fun awards that we're going to kick in through while you're all waiting for each team to come in and present. Alice? We have Susan Odell Pepe. She was our activities person. We have Natalie Schutt. She helped with registration and career day and the flags. We have Katie Cameron. Katie was the one that came in on Sunday after we'd been here a week and just kept us pepped up for the rest of the few days. And she kept making really weird and strange comments to make us laugh. And then we have Al, our Mr. Logistics man. Wherever or whatever we needed, he was there. We have some other members that worked diligently for the last 4 years. We all worked thousands and thousands of hours, personal time and work time to make this the success for you to enjoy and be here in New York. And so we have Ernie Swift, who was unable to be here tonight. We had Bob Shank, who happened to get sick at the last minute. And we had Ryan Cunningham, who took a vacation and had hoped to get back, but couldn't make it tonight. So we also had Fred Von Mecca. He was helping Chaz with the oral presentation and all of the training. So we hope that you had a great time seeing Niagara Falls and experiencing the great refreshing rain shower during the last round of the testing. And the solar car races. Something didn't cooperate there. And I'd also like to, at this time, introduce our judges. We have, get this in the right order, Michael Vergentino, who is a retired broadcast journalist and marketing communicationist. We have Bethany Bizdu. She's the executive director of New York State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. We have Rick Garrett. He's a teacher and a New York State Envirothon advisor at Skaneateles Central School. We have Stuart Leach, who is the Chief Sustainable Officer for Smithfield Foods. And we have Greg Albrecht. He's the Principal Environmental Analyst with Ag and Markets Division of Land and Water Resources. And then we have our timer. I never can pronounce her last name, so we call her Auntie Bethy. And we have a couple special guests with us that is in the audience. We have Dawn Shields. She's the Communications, Relations, and Corporate Social Responsibility at Canon USA. We have Brooke Wynn, the Senior Director of Sustainability, Smithfield Foods Incorporated, and is on the NCF Board of Trustees. Oh, was there something else I was supposed to announce now? Oh, okay. No particular order. The top 3 overall winners: 2405, 2420, and 2442. And if you could exit the building to Carrie, the one in the pink.
Okay, so I'm up here to talk to you about the I'm just kidding, no oral presentation talks. That's what we did yesterday. So I get to do trivia. All right, so if my trivia helpers can come up, Chuck, I'll use you too. We've got Natalie, Alice, you guys want to grab a mic from our amazing judges. So I'm gonna call out a question. The first person I see, or as close to the person I can see, I'm going to send you a person with a mic. If you are right, you win an amazing prize from these lovely ladies over here. If not, we're just going to keep working on it, all right? All right. Are you guys ready? Are we ready? Come on. All right, let's go. So, what is... Oh my gosh, everybody's so quiet. The official state freshwater fish. Oh. Pick one, guys. Go for it. Go for it, Alice.
The brook trout.
Did you turn it on? Brook trout. That's right.
Sí, Elias.
So you guys have to turn those mics on.
We got it.
Thank you. All right. How much forested land is in New York State? I need a number. Go ahead.
30%?
Nope. In acres. Do you want to try again?
No acres.
No. I don't have the conversion up here. All right, nobody? What? Nobody?
56,421.35 acres.
You cannot Google the answer.
Disqualified.
Yep, disqualified. Okay, you got one over here? Alice? What?
Now I'm good. It was 56,000. 56,000, I don't know. I made up a number.
5 million.
5 million? Nope. All right. Let's move on. This is getting painful. All right. What is the UV factor of sunscreen? Oh, guys, you're killing me.
SPF?
What's the number?
Well, I use,
Okay. It's 7. On. Oh man, did you have that? Okay, so let's do some awards. All right. I got slightly painful there for a second. So let's have Susan. You want to do basketball? So we had a 3-on-3 tournament of basketball one night this week. I don't know what day it was because I've lost track of all of it. Was it what? See, we've lost track. Tuesday night. Okay, Susan. Okay, we're good.
Okay, so we have third place for the basketball. We have Eric, Caleb, and Caitlin. Okay,
Susan's
so
got prizes,
second
guys. Go on
place,
up.
we have Kelton with a K, Nadisha, N-A-D, Nade, and K-A-P-U-R-O. And first place for the basketball, we have James William, Grant Sherman, and Evastus C. Okay.
Okay, let's try this again. What was the maximum number of slides you could have in your oral presentation? If not, you guys don't know this, you're all in trouble.
35.
35?
35.
You are right. Woo, we finally have a winner! Gotta go get a prize.
Pick out a prize.
How are you doing? See ya.
What thumb drive? I'm so confused. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's see. Now that we got a roll, what day is Earth Day? Right there. Oh, hang on.
June 8th, April 20th.
What did?
June 8th?
Nope, April 20th is right. Oh, wait, it's not. I'm just kidding. Next one.
April 22nd.
Yes, you got it. Okay. Let's see. Can you ready for this one? Stop a tornado. Chuck, it's your turn. Can you stop a tornado?
Me?
Yep, no, not you.
Pick a person, Chuck.
The kid in the back, right there.
Yeah.
No, winner.
I'm here for traffic relief, and that's it.
Okay, are we ready for the next one? Are flamingos pink? Ooh. Listen, if you win a trivia, you have to go get a prize over there.
They are not born pink.
Okay, what's the answer?
No.
Are flamingos pink?
No, they're white.
Correct. Good job. You're right.
All right, more people got to raise their hands over here.
It is a good question.
Yeah, I don't see so good.
Let's see. Okay, let's try a Niagara Falls question since you all visited there on Wednesday. That day I remember. Well, sort of. I don't know. I kind of lost it a little bit. Let's see. Okay. How many acres of Niagara Falls Park are underwater? Ooh, these are hard, right? Anybody? Okay, Chuck's got one here. Hang on.
500?
How many?
500?
No. The park is 400 acres, if this helps.
0.
No. What? We got an answer? Anybody?
150?
Oh, you are so close. I'm giving it to you. It's 140. Let's see here. I know, I have to decide which ones I think we can manage. Do diamonds last forever? Right here, Chuck.
No, they do not. They
Correct.
will erode away.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Man's
Okay,
on the right.
okay, next one. What do you call a group of crows? Oh, look at all the hands. How exciting is that?
Can I pick one,
Okay,
Chad?
Susan's got one over here. Hang on.
A murder.
Yes. A murder. So the answer is a murder. So there was a lot of hands up on that one. That was impressive. Okay. So, Joanne, where are you? Joanne, you want to come do some awards?
We have this stuff too. Just these.
What? No? No, Blanche tells me
And then
no.
I also have Google Cards.
No? You told me it was today during the day. The solar car? Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay, Joanne, you can come.
These are men's, that's men's. So you guys.
No. Yeah, good try. I tried that yesterday.
How about now?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. My husband was your race director, and he smartly went home to the air conditioning. So he left me in charge of the awards for the race. So I will start with our honorable mention, Team 2445, the Skibidi Skippers.
Okay, perfect. Sorry.
They get the honorable mention for creating a dual source power car by blowing their wheels. They never finished because they ran out of air. In third place, with a time of 5 minutes and 34 seconds, was Team 2433, the Chiefs. No, you get that. In second place, with a time of 4 minutes, 18 seconds, is Team 2416, the Water Boatmen. Nobody's admitting to being the Water Boatmen? And the winning team, the DNR, with a time of 4 minutes and 7 seconds, Team 2419.
Are you good? Okay, thank you, Joanne. No, you're good. I was gonna wait. Okay, are we ready for a couple more trivia? All right, you ready? How deep is the Grand Canyon in feet? Chuck's got a hand up here.
5,300.
Oh, you're close. Next. There's a, wait, hang on. Is he going to give us one? Oh,
6,000.
yes.
Oh, come on.
You guys didn't Google it, did you? Okay, just checking. Oh, good. Okay, so our next one. What is the only bird that can fly backwards? Ooh, ooh. Oh, let's get one over here this time.
Hummingbird.
Yes. How many, are you ready? How many national parks are there in the United States?
I got one over here.
North America, the United States.
63.
Oh, you're so close. It's 61,
62.
but I'm giving it to you.
62.
So these are for Greg, just because I'm entertaining myself now. All right, what does CAFO stand for? Anybody? Ooh, there's a first hand I saw was over there.
Concentrated Animal Feeding Operation.
Yes. Woo! Now, I gave you a lot of acronyms yesterday, and this was one of them. What does, you can't raise your hand yet. What does USDA stand for? Oh, lots of hands,
We have
lots
one
of
raised.
hands. Oh, yeah, Chuck's got it.
U.S.
No, hang on,
Department.
Chuck.
United States Department of Agriculture.
Okay, got it. Sorry, Chuck, we got it.
It's all right.
She's got it. She's got it. United States Department of Agriculture. This is one of my favorites. Let's hit the back of the room with Natalie on this one. Are you ready? I lost it. Hang on a minute. I'm going to kill some time here. Okay, I'm just kidding. What color is diamond dust? The gentleman right here. You got no? Did, hang on.
Black.
Yes. Since we are in New York, I'm going to hit a few New York more questions here. What is the official state insect?
I got one here in the back.
Wait, hang on, we got one in the back here. Now, I just want to point out,
It's the ladybug.
you got it. I want to point out that some of these questions was in our amazing newsletter this week that was made by the NCF crew and their CAT team. So part of this I've set you up, just so you know. So if you read the newsletter, you might know some of these answers. All right. How many watersheds are in New York State? Ooh, that was a fast one right there in the middle, Katie. Hang on.
17.
Yes. Nice. Okay, how many years does it take a plastic bag to decompose in the landfill? Okay, Susan's got one. Hang on.
Let's see if I can get. We're getting too much.
500 years.
Did you say 100 years?
500.
No. We're gonna hunt around with this one. How about right here, Susan? Yep.
20?
Nope. How about right there, Katie? In the middle.
100.
A 100? Nope.
1,000.
Yes. Thank you for opening the doors. Some of us are melting. Susan, do you have other awards you need to do? Let's break it up a little bit. Cornhole toss. Okay. Okay.
So the three winners of the cornhole toss, of course, I didn't put what order you guys were in. Bella and Nave. We also have Colton and Nick. Colton with a C. And Kayla and Caitlin.
Oh, that's right, girl.
Okay. How are we doing? Are we melting a little bit less than we were about 30 seconds ago? Okay, thanks. Susan? That's all right, you're good. Okay. What is the New York State gem? Ooh.
I got one here.
You got, oh, he's got one. Then it's Chuck, yeah, then it's you. What is it?
Ruby.
Nope.
Garnet.
Yes, it is. Since we're in the amazing Finger Lakes region, how many Finger Lakes are there? Ooh, I feel like Susan's got this one over here. Hang on.
11.
11 is, I'm sorry. Yes. Little suspense there, wasn't there? It's one of those I just got, you know, you get a message, you're not sure. Hang on a second. Talk amongst yourselves for a sec. Hang on. There's a text. Yeah, you got it, Blanche? Joanne? Okay, Alice, this one's for you. Pitching it to you guys, okay? What is the capital of New York? Oh, you pick one. No, Alice has got it. Wait. Alice has got this one.
Albany.
Yes. All right, you ready? So this one's for Susan. You ready, Susan? You ready? No. What is the state reptile?
I got some over here that know it.
Okay, she's got one. Hang on. Then we'll switch it to you.
Okay.
Don't Google it. Serious, I'm going to take all your phones away again.
Snapping turtle.
Yes. See you looking at your phones.
The
I can
next
see
one is
that
for
from...
my group over here.
Yeah, the next one is for your group over there. Got it. Let me find a hard one. Just kidding. All right. What year was the first solar panel created to power devices? This was very interesting. Oh, the one in the green.
$1950.
You are correct.
And it was in your newsletter. I read it.
See? Yay! That was a good one. No, did you do it right now? No. Okay, just checking.
She didn't cheat.
All right. What state contains the most national parks? Ooh, okay, Natalie, this one's you.
We're ready. Turn.
Oh, Alaska.
No.
I got one.
Okay, Alice.
California.
Yes. See, we're on a roll now. We're doing pretty good. Okay. What material can take up to 1 million years to decompose? Right here in the center, Chuck.
Glass.
Yes. Glass. Okay. Ooh, I got a whole page of fun here. How many chickens does it take that you have to have a CAFO permit?
There's one here in the back.
I'm gonna get fired. 100? No.
25.
How many?
25.
No. This is more fun than I anticipated.
150.
150? No, you guys are like way low.
13.
Big.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Okay, I can't hear you. You can't win if I can't hear you.
6,000?
No, higher.
6,583.
No, you don't get to answer twice.
15,000.
Nope.
30,000?
Closer. Closer with the 30.
50,000?
50,000.
How many?
50?
Nope. That's a little too high.
40,000.
40,000, yeah. This is what happens when you're at Envirothon and you don't get a lot of sleep and you're looking for trivia questions. I'm gonna get fired. Oh, huh?
You're not gonna get fired though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, let's see. What color is a polar bear's hair? Well, Chuck's got it. Hang on.
It's clear.
It is clear. You guys are good. Okay. What Great Lake holds the least amount of water? Oh, right here. Right here, Chuck.
Erie.
Yes. All right, this time we're going to send it to Alice. All right, you ready? A belted Galloway and a Belgian Blue are breeds of what animal? Pass it down. Hang on. We got to get there. Just a second. Don't yell it out. Don't want to give it away.
Cattle.
Yes. All right, we ready for the next one? What is the tallest mountain in New York State?
I got one over here.
Okay. Hang on, we got Katie. Then we're going to kick it to Natalie.
Let's see here.
You asked me to raise your hand? Throw it out. Shoot your shot.
Tallest mountain in New York State. What do you got, guys?
Empire State Building.
That is definitely not a mountain, but it is tall. Tallest mountain in New York State. Natalie, all you.
Mount Marcy.
Yes, you got it. That was good. All right. Another one. You ready? What aquatic animal is the most poisonous in the world? Oh, kid, just get that kid. Yeah, you. Yeah, you.
I choose not to answer.
It's what?
He said he chose not to answer.
Oh, okay, right here, Susan. This gentleman right on the end.
Blue ringed octopus.
No.
It's the
Right
man
next
of,
to you.
You guys right here.
It's the man of war.
No.
I got one.
Right here.
Okay, Katie's got
It's the man
one.
of war.
Pufferfish?
Yes. Whoa. So yesterday, while we were on our oral presentation, I threw a couple fun facts out at you just because I didn't want to say 800 times to make sure that you don't identify yourself again in the presentation. So how many years does it take to make 1 inch of soil? Ooh, let's go with Chuck on this one.
100 years.
Yes. I'm so glad to know you guys were paying attention. Okay. I was trying to find my favorite Al question. but I haven't found it yet. I'll save that one for you, Al.
You woke him up.
It's a good one. Once I find it, it's in here somewhere. All right, where is the world's largest mountain range?
Pick one, Chess.
Oh, okay, hang on. We got, let's go with Natalie.
North America?
Nope.
In South America?
Where?
South America?
Nope. Okay, Katie.
The Himalayas, which is in India.
Nope.
So,
Okay, it's
Hey.
not necessarily a place. It's somewhere specific.
Under the Atlantic Ocean? Under the Atlantic Ocean.
What? Yes, it is. Under the Atlantic Ocean's underwater. Are they ready? Oh. What? Mississippi produces 60% of America's what? Oh, right there. No, okay, never mind. She put her hand up over there. Yep.
Are they from Mississippi?
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is why I can't take questions from the field. Yes, it is a catfish. That was slightly painful. All right. I do have a few lost and found. This water bottle was left at basketball. If it's yours, come and please get it. This one was left in one of the OP rooms. And then this amazing hat was left on bus 8. We believe.
It was definitely the falls trip.
It was a falls trip. So if you're missing this, come collect it. It's the NCF hat.
Was that an adult bus?
Blanche, are we doing Alice's? Oh, okay. Alice, can we do a couple of your awards?
All right, we have an award. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Award for the youngest team. That's given to the team with the smallest combined ages of the team members. And that goes to Rhode Island. And then we have the oldest team, which is same thing, but the oldest, and that's Iowa.
Okay. All right. So I feel we're still chugging and plugging? Okay, perfect. All right, let me see what kind of entertainment I can come up with now. How many tons of water flow over Niagara Falls every second? Yes, go ahead.
$600,000 gallons.
Tons? You got to convert it.
Convert it now.
You can use your phone for that. All right, we're going to go hit another one. Natalie, over there.
Me? 8,000.
8,000? Nope.
Everybody else?
Yeah.
30,000?
Nope. I can go all day. I can say nope a lot.
100,000?
Nope.
650,000.
Nope. Get
60,000.
down.
2,540.
That's pretty close.
3,160.
Yeah, you had to have Googled that. Yeah, but it's right. Or was it in the newsletter? You got it. 3,160. Whoever said that.
Bad question. Throw it out.
So, do we get the winner on that one? Yes, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, wow, you got really quiet. I don't have to yell so loud. All right. What renewable energy source provides the most power? How about there, Susan?
Water.
No. Chuck?
Nuclear.
Nope. Katie?
Wind.
Yes. Okay. What was the first national park? Let's see. This one is for, go ahead, for Chuck.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone is correct. Are they ready? Okay,
Yeah.
so can we cue back up the screens to our amazing tech guys in the back? Thank you.
Now re-representing is team number 2405.
Okay, guys, get the same, so 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Get your stuff all ready, let me know when you're ready, and I'll start each one.
Okay.
Do you wanna switch sides?
Yeah, switch sides. Okay. I'm good.
I assume so.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, we are ready.
Coal,
Oil. Gas.
hydrocarbons,
These are all non-renewable energy sources that cause significant health, environmental, social, and economic impacts across the community. We are the Jefferson County USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, and we have been tasked by John and Joe Future to create renewable energy for Apple Hill Farms. I'm your project manager, Frank DeLucia.
I'm Jonathan Van Buskirk, the systems engineer.
I'm Madeline Chiazzo, the ecologist.
I'm Anna O'Leary, the community ambassador.
And I'm Blake Carberry, the financial analyst.
The first step to transition Apple Hill Farms to a renewable energy system is to consider its current character and energy landscape. Apple Hill Farms is located on 399 acres in Jefferson County, New York. It grows peaches, apples, spring mix, and cilantro, while also having a large beef production with a 30-head Red Angus herd that requires significant land for grazing. As it stands, these operations require 650,000 kilowatt hours of electricity to power, with demand expected to increase by 30,000 kilowatt hours in the next couple of years. Additionally, the Futures are very well respected within their community, with most of their crops and products being sold to the people off of the farm. Joe and John Future have highlighted multiple goals that they want to be completed within the next 2 years, including diversifying the energy sources that their farm contains. They would also like to develop maple syrup operations and implement rotational grazing and frost prevention technology systems. We are constrained by a budget of $500,000 US, pushback on renewable energy from local interest groups, and complications with threatened and endangered species. As it stands on the farm, they get their energy from the main electricity grid, which makes them more susceptible to power outages and causes greenhouse gas emissions that contribute to global climate change. Fortunately, all of these concerns will be addressed in our three-tiered mission: improving efficiency, diversifying energy, and the impact triangle, which takes into account the environment, economic, and societal factors that our plan impacts. And to begin, we have our systems engineer, John, to tell you about our improving efficiency for Apple Hill Farms.
Energy efficiency is known as the first fuel in achieving a sustainable future and will be the first step in our plan for Apple Hill Farms. Here at the USDA NRCS, we have identified a three-step initiative to achieve energy efficiency that we like to call RIC. R stands for replace, replacing old energy inefficient technologies with new, more efficient technologies, particularly things like LED lighting and efficient appliances. I stands for install, more intensive operations including installing new HVAC systems, as well as introducing building automation systems. Construct includes things like green building standards, building new buildings on more energy smart locations, and also ensuring all new construction operations are equipped with renewable energy sources. Now, it's important to recognize that reducing your energy usage is always going to be cheaper than producing more renewable energy. However, if the need arises at this project, we have identified microgrids as our major strategy to achieve the future's goals. A microgrid is essentially a small localized electricity grid that both stores and produces its own energy, with particular emphasis on storage. At this farm, we plan to have both chemical storage in the case of lithium-ion batteries, as well as physical storage with renewable natural gas. Microgrids also reduce the amount of transmission infrastructure that is required, which according to Carl Strauss, a USDA NRCS employee, is the single greatest issue when it comes to renewable construction. The first energy source of our microgrid will be solar. We plan to build 17,000 square feet of solar on the roofs of the barnyards, barn, and cold storage, producing approximately 560,000 kilowatt hours of electricity annually, assuming both a 70% efficiency and that the area we have identified is only 70% usable. These calculations and numbers are based on the Solar Basics in Jefferson County document, and our initiative aligns with the Build Ready initiative in New York State. The second energy source will be wind. We plan to build one small 15 kilowatt turbine in a small section of in the north of the major pasture area, just outside of the prime farmland area. This turbine will face south-southwest, ensuring maximum energy production according to the wind roses in the local area. Now, we also plan to implement a biodigestion facility, which harnesses the power of bacteria to convert organic material into usable resources, turning waste into watts. The first product is renewable natural gas, also known as RNG, which is a more environmentally friendly transition fuel than traditional natural gas, while still being able to be used in existing natural gas pipelines and facilities. The second product is digestate, which we will continue to discuss in the environmental issues. Now, unfortunately, the location we have decided on next to the barn is in a prime farmland area. However, it is more important for us to prioritize its proximity to hard-to-transport organic material, namely manure, bedding, and rotten feed, rather than preserving a small tract of prime farmland. The RNG produced by this facility will be used to supplement home heating, as well as fueling ice-free water outlets in the areas we have designated as cattle watering areas. The Futures have also asked us to build an energy-friendly orchard heating system. We have identified pipeline heaters as the method we choose, which takes pipelines filled with natural gas running through the orchards attached to a major RNG tank at the digester where it is controlled. Heaters along the pipelines are placed 3 trees apart, also with temperature monitoring systems evenly distributed throughout the orchards to ensure there are no dangerous cold spots. Pipeline heaters specifically have the lowest fuel usage to emissions ratio, ensuring that our plan prioritizes ease of installation and minimizes the environmental and agricultural disturbances.
Not only do the Futures want to diversify the renewable energy on their farm, but they also would like to diversify and secure their sources of income. First, we would begin with a maple syrup production plant where we would place a sugar shack on the lower slope of the maple bush. This would allow plastic piping to be run directly from piped trees all the way down, bringing sap directly into the sugar shack, which, according to USDA agroforestry notes, reduces need for transportation infrastructure and labor. The evaporator and reverse osmosis systems within the sugar shack would be powered by a solar panel microgrid that was highlighted by our systems engineer. Additionally, we plan to implement a rotational grazing system, which would split the existing grazing area into 5 paddocks of 10.5 acres each, ensuring all cows have sufficient space. They would be rotated on a 5-day basis, aided by stream crossings pictured in green and laneways pictured in orange. This would ensure that the cropland is undisturbed, which will be addressed by our ecologists later. Additionally, we will implement a frost prevention system in the orchards using the pipeline system described by our systems engineer with RNG produced from our biodigester. And now we must consider the impact triangle of our plan with an assessment of the environment, economy, and the community. Beginning with the first point of our triangle, our ecologist, Maddie, is here to tell you about our natural resources management plans.
Thanks, Frank. I'm here to discuss the ecological impacts of all of the current and new processes getting down on the farm. Stony Creek runs right through the middle of the farm, and it's susceptible to agricultural runoff from both the cropland and livestock pasture. Stony Creek is currently a classification C stream, with concerns being excess nitrate, and abnormal pH. The Future Brothers already have current best management practices in place. No-till farming and winterize a cover crop will maintain in place because they help soil by reducing soil loss and erosion, as well as reduce sedimentation and reduce nutrient pollution from entering the stream. New best management practices will include an access control system, as well as a rotational grazing plan with a laneway. The access control plan is necessary to permanently exclude the cattle from the wetlands, keeping the cattle out and the wetlands in with a minimum 50 feet riparian buffer. The cattle currently have one large pasture, but splitting it into 5 pastures will allow the vegetation to have a greater longevity, increasing the nutrients that the cattle receive. Additionally, the laneway will reduce and isolate soil compaction. One more best management practice that we will be including is a vegetative buffer located behind the barnyard to capture any excess nutrients and other pollutants flowing downward to the stream. Renewable energy requires a lot of construction and installation. Matt Haven, an NRCS soil scientist, admits that the reality is that some soil compaction is inevitable with construction. Hang in with me here, because my job is to have as little alteration to our natural resources as possible. With Haven's recommendations, efforts to reduce soil compaction will include dispersing driving of construction vehicles over prime farmland instead of in one spot to reduce compaction. The topsoil layer will be removed during construction and replaced after construction to maintain soil health. Additionally, digestate is produced from the biodigester and acts as an amendment to soil and can be placed on the crop fields as well as the livestock pasture to improve overall soil health and act as a fertilizer which has less nitrate than traditional fertilizers. The Future Brothers specified that they would like to avoid and prevent New York invasive species, particularly the emerald ash borer and the spotted lanternfly. This will be done with an integrated pest management plan, which will prevent, avoid, monitor, and suppress these pests while using precision application techniques to minimize risk to non-target species as well as waterways. Endangered wildlife must be considered a major stakeholder in our plan. The northern long-eared bat has been identified on this property, and it will be protected by harvesting crop trees in the winter months, as well as utilizing our wind turbine during the winter months while this bat is hibernating. The wind turbine will also be turned off during bird migration to reduce fatalities. The Blandings turtle has also been identified on the property, and it will greatly benefit from the fenced wetlands and the efforts to improve water quality. Both the northern long-eared bat and Blandings turtle will benefit from all of our efforts. Now on to my associate to talk about our forestry management plan.
A forest management plan is crucial to maintaining a healthy ecosystem while harvesting crops, trees, and sap. Our management plan will include a crop tree release, which is periodic thinning, prioritizing large diameter, mature, and defect-free sugar maples. Allowing for an open canopy and no competition will maximize the productivity of our forests. All equipment used for management will use existing roadways to reduce any further soil compaction. We will use log landing to also reduce further soil compaction, meaning that any collected timber will have a specific area that is stored. As most of the logging will be done by hand, most forest BMPs will not be needed. This forest management plan will be managed by a hired consultant forester by the future brothers, to ensure a healthy ecosystem. Now that we showed you the environmental stakeholders, I'm here to tell you about the community stakeholders. All stakeholders must be a part of our plan. These stakeholders include Joe and John Future, the residents of nearby towns and villages, and New York farmers. The Future Brothers Farm is a pilot program for similar sized farms in the community to model a renewable farm for a sustainable future. The USDA NRCS realizes that solar and wind projects can be an eyesore to the community, but we will hold open house forums before and during the development of our project, ensuring that the community is satisfied with the intricacies of our plan. According to Sarah Lee, a renewable developer for a major renewable energy company, these forums give an interface to the community, allowing for unity in our community. We will also be implementing an educational program with field trips and informational assemblies about renewable energy with all local schools. The NRCS will also give weekly updates on our pilot program on social media, websites, and newsletters. The Future Brothers Farm will also establish their own social media page to connect to the community and give updates about their own renewable energy journey. Our pilot program gives farmers energy security with a diverse energy system. It allows the community to see how feasible our diverse energy system is. It provides another source of power to the community, providing energy resilience and energy security, especially for low and middle income households. The NRCS ensures that farmers' property rights and traditions will be respected, and our plan will have minimal impact on their current operation. All schools, farmers, and residential homes will be highlighted and recognized in our energy program. Overall, this program provides an opportunity for greater energy justice and energy democracy, giving power back to the people. And now for the cost estimate with Blake.
Hi, I'm Blake, and I'm the financial analyst here. So I know this may seem pricey, but stick with me. We're going to show you how we can fund our future. First is our solar project. At $3.01 per watt, the installation would cost $250,000 for the farm. But we have incentives like the New York Solar Sales Tax Incentive and the Federal Investment Tax Incentive, which can reduce the cost by over 30%, meaning that we would only have to pay $175,000 for this system. Additionally, a system like this could be paid off in around 5 years, according to Sarah Lee, who's a solar developer for the company Boralex. Next, for a biodigester, this creates a byproduct called digestate, which could be used sustainably on the farm or could be sold back to the local community in order to make additional profit. Next, how are we going to pay for all these BMPs? Well, we have the Climate Resilience Program with the New York State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. This has 3 tracks, one for water management, one for soil health, one for forestry management. Certain BMPs already being done, like the winter rye as a cover crop and erosion control, could be covered for up to 80% of the cost on the farm. Additional programs like our agroforestry program, in order to ensure better maple production, and our integrated pest management system using insecticides and other equipment to make sure our orchards and maple trees are protected from the spotted lanternfly. These things will be covered up to 80% of the cost under this program. Next, the Future Brothers have asked for a prescribed grazing system as part of their budget to farm more sustainably. We have a program with the USDA which can offer $500 per acre for grazing land just by keeping cattle out of the water. With 50 acres, this is $25,000 in incentives. But additionally, prescribed grazing and access control methods can also be covered under the Climate Resiliency Fund, meaning that fences in these types of waterways and crossings could also be covered for up to 80% of the cost. Additionally, extension agents in the state of New York, Melvin and Mason, have mentioned that you can save money on hay as well as input management fees by having a prescribed and continuous grazing system. To recap our total budget, we have $500,000 to work with. We have about $172,000 in rebates, grants, and other incentives for renewable energy. Overall, our timeline, everything will be done in a timeline of about 5 to 8 years with a return on investment after this point of $24,500 per year. This is how we can fund our future. If this is not done, detrimental impacts could harm the Future Brothers farm, including crops and the orchard being destroyed by the spotted lanternfly infestations. And the cold winters of Jefferson County could be harmed with the cold weather, freezing buds, and even killing the trees due to exposure, leading to less profit for the Future Brothers farm. Failure to switch to renewables will reduce will create more carbon emissions, leading to the social cost of carbon being exacerbated as well. And here is our project manager with our timeline.
Now, you may be wondering how our plan will be completed on time. Well, in the early stages of our plan, we're going to ensure that permitting, planning, and processing of renewable energy sources begin, as well as the future sources of income on the farm. By the late stages of our plan, we want to have all energy systems and on-farm income systems installed to ensure that the Future Brothers have their income in the timeline they desire. For long-term considerations, we want to ensure end-of-life decommissioning for all of our renewable energy systems, as well as ensuring that our natural resources management programs continue and are revised based on pressing environmental issues. Additionally, with the $100,000 excess in the budget, the Future Brothers have the potential to switch to 100% renewable energy in the next few years if they so wish by expanding their renewable energy systems. Now, let's review our three-tiered mission: improving efficiency, diversifying energy, and the impact triangle. Our plan ensures the Future Brothers have a secure and resilient future for both energy and the economy, showing that on Apple Hill Farms, sustainable is attainable. Thank you, judges, and thank you, NCF-Envirothon.
I feel far away from you guys.
Wait, okay.
Do you guys want to shift this way for questions now?
Well, they have
Team 2405, thank you. Congratulations, and congratulations to all the teams and their guides in the room here. Awesome, awesome stuff. Could you elaborate a little more on some of the alternatives that you considered that didn't make it to your final plan?
John, you take
So
this
one of the major alternatives that we discussed was geothermal. Especially in rural areas, geothermal is becoming an increasingly viable alternative energy source both for homes and for electricity generation. However, a lot of the soils in the area, according to the soil map, the soils had either very shallow bedrock, around 10 to 20 inches, or a very high water table, shallower than 10 inches. So geothermal really just wasn't a viable option with the soil type and ground we had available.
And also, there are concerns. Another source that we considered was microhydro, but there are ecology concerns, so our ecologist Maddie will tell you about that.
Yes, so microhydro was an option for us, but because the Blandings turtle is a threatened species on the property, it would be very hard for that species to bounce back from major changes to their ecosystem, so we decided that that would not be a good route for that species.
And I might also add that in our resources, there was a plan on a similar site, a similar farm, that proposed microhydro, but the plan was eventually rejected because of the microhydro systems.
once again, congratulations to making it to this point. I want to ask you about when I see all your costs that you had on your slide, I'm sure it was a challenge to come up with. One of the things that I'm curious about here on a judge's score sheet, it talks about costs of doing nothing. And you had mentioned the social cost of carbon. I was wondering if some of you could expand on what are the costs to the stakeholders of doing nothing?
Could we get a second to discuss before we answer the question briefly? Yes. Okay. So the social cost of carbon is a complex economic issue that takes into account the externalities of carbon emissions and carbon fuels. And we'd have a lot of impacts associated with that in all the areas we're considering. So I'm going to pass it over to Anna, our community specialist, to tell you some of those.
Talking about the community impacts for not doing anything about our renewable energy system, specifically low and middle income households will be deeply affected because they won't have the resources to get AC or get renewable energy anyway, and that will greatly affect their health, especially with global heat effect and flooding and natural disasters. They don't have the protection and money resources that they need to protect for them.
And especially on the farm setting, like our problem, as the climate gets warmer, you're dealing with more pests. The pests are moving further north and expanding their habitat, which leads to lower yields in the springtime and the destruction of forests. And in addition, things like weather, as climate change occurs, leads to more severe weather, and it really could reduce crop yield.
Quick question. Great job. Very good presentation for everybody. So, and by this question, don't think that you didn't cover it. I may have missed it, but it's a question about the microgrid, which is a great solution. Did you all consider the reliability as compared to business as usual, taking it from the main grid?
Yes, we did. There are major concerns with renewable energy with its intermittency. That's one of the major problems. So I'm sure our systems engineer can tell you more about how we designed this system.
Yeah, so microgrids, their entire purpose is to manage the issues with the current ability of solar to properly fuel and give enough energy for our needs. So microgrids, like I mentioned, are they have their own storage systems, which is the biggest and most important part of the microgrid, giving us energy that we need, even in areas or times or areas that aren't producing at high levels or aren't at all. So going back to business as usual, nothing would change. And like we mentioned, the cost of doing nothing is very high, but solar panels are becoming more and more viable. But we are quickening that process, making it faster so that we can utilize solar at an earlier point in time and still have the energy security and generation that we need for the current developments in our world.
And it can be both open and close to the main grid as well, and that certainly helps with energy reliability also.
Can you talk a little bit about the potential negative environmental impacts to the solar installation?
Sure. So most of our solar installation will be going onto already built buildings or our new buildings like the Sugar Shack. So it's going to be implemented with construction already. So like I mentioned, with the soil impacts, we're going to spread out vehicles so that they're not driving over the same place to reduce overall compaction of the soil, as well as implementing construction best management practices. That would include like using a silt fence properly installed so that if there was any erosion caused by that implementation, then that would be taken care of.
And I would also like to add that our development is following the New York Build Ready initiative that advocates for the construction of these renewable energy sources on already ready sites to build them. So rather than clearing a forest or using ag land to build those solar projects, we're putting it on a house that already has the electrical infrastructure and reduced environmental impact that placing it in a environmentally important area wouldn't.
Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. A couple of things caught my ear, just to mention. Having been in the communications profession for a career, I thank you for including a proactive communications plan. That is so important whenever you're trying to convince any audience of a change. And you do have a lot of audiences that have a lot of different issues with this. Second was, you mentioned the lanternfly. I'm a downstater, way downstate, as far as you could go. And we have a lanternfly issue, big time down there. I did not know there was one up here also. But whether there is or isn't, I congratulate you for being cognizant of that invasive species. My question to you is, one of the solutions you recommended is a wind turbine. Wind turbines can be invasive due to their height, due to their sound, and they could also collapse due to storms. And with the increasing number of storms coming through New York State, especially in this area, this could be a problem. Have you come up with any solution if you cannot use a wind turbine?
Yes, so when we were developing our plan and determining the renewable resources to use, solar and renewable natural gas were the first two that came to mind. And we decided to add wind to provide an extra energy source just in case the solar or biomass, or sorry, biogas energy failed. So that wind turbine that we added, although it, if we weren't able to use the wind turbine due to either local concerns, zoning, there are interest groups who wanted to the city to pass ordinances to limit wind turbine development. And if that were the case, then we could shift our focus to the other two renewables we had and make it through a systems-based approach to ensure that it could deliver energy to the farm sustainably, either by adding more storage or adding more energy production.
Also, to reiterate, we would hold open house forums before and during the planning. So if they had any issues they wanted to communicate about the wind turbine, about the solar microgrids, then they could do that then, and we could, again, switch to just solar and biogas. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we got some more trivia. Yes? No? Yes? Hang on. I got a wait a minute moment from Blanche.
Please turn your cell phones off.
Thank you. So, one thing while I'm up here, Blanche did a great job at recognizing all of us, even though a lot of us like to hide, even though we have purple shirts on. Let's take a minute and say thank you to Blanche. I know the steps are on the other side of the stage. I just like to launch off this side a little bit. So I was saying, thank you to Blanche for all the amazing things that she does for running our state event and taking on a national event. As you guys probably mostly know, it's not an easy process. Hang on, I gotta find the USB set. So, thank you, Blanche, for being amazing. Thank you for loving squirrels. Some of you all know that she enjoys squirrels thoroughly. So anytime you see one, you should send her a picture, just saying. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for that. But I really appreciate every single a member of this committee, and I know she does too. We are very lucky to have an amazing leader who keeps us all slightly in line as much as she possibly can. It is not an easy task.
That goes both ways. So
Yes, yes, this is very true. So thank you very much. Well, I'm hitting some time here. Let's do some trivia. You ready? Do you want to look at it? Oh, wait, Alice has an award. Let's do that.
This is for the team that traveled the farthest. And it goes to Singapore.
What? Huh? Yes. Go back. Okay, so while we're here, we're just checking out a little bit of a technical glitch because you know that's my MO too. So Sunday night was completely my fault. So a couple more members of our crew because I know when Blanche gets up here, there's such a long list of us because we're all crazy. Danielle, she is our volunteers coordinator. She gets us all here. That girl's got a really tough job. Carl, he also helps with oral presentation in any place that he's right here. Stand up, Carl. Danielle's back at the barn. Danielle's back at the barn holding down the barn because somebody's got to be there keeping things going. We also have Vic. Vic was the crazy guy who got us all to Niagara Falls. Oh, hey, Vic. All right, I feel like I'm going to get myself in trouble, so I'll just keep rambling. So, also, you know, I don't know how many people know how many volunteers truly are here. I think there's 120-ish. I don't know, Danielle will send me a text in about 2 seconds and my watch will go off, and she'll give me a number that's probably much more appropriate. But there's a lot of volunteers here that help us get this together, along with all of the staff in the cafeteria feeding us all week, especially when we onslaughted them like 45 minutes. Okay. Scott is also one of our amazing volunteers. We're just giving the judges a couple minutes to finish up also. Scott is also one of our amazing volunteers. You know all those handy dandy snacks you had all week? That was Scott. Thank you, Scott. So, as you know, we worked really hard to get sponsors. A lot of the snacks that we had are donated. Chobani, Cabot, Water Bottle Company, What else am I missing? Chips, oh, New York chips. Yes, those also come from our local sponsors here in New York State. Those are made in New York State, so we're pretty lucky to have those options here. I was pretty excited to see a cooler full of cheese today around because I ate a lot of it. Oh, and the ice, see Blanche is sitting right here. See, she continues to conduct as we sit here. The ice cream from Stewart's. And you know, we're gonna have ice cream at the dance tonight. Hopefully, oh yeah, there we go. The other thing, I had a guest volunteer approach me today. Some of you guys are gonna be traveling back on planes, trains, automobiles, whichever. You may have some snacks that you no longer can take with you. Bring them to where we're going to, I'm making one of those executive decisions, so I'm not making eye contact. Bring them to where you're going to drop your keys off, which is the Smith Library. No, it's not the Smith Library. Where do they turn in their keys?
If they're going on the shuttle, they're going to give them to Victor.
Right. If you're on the shuttle, you're giving them to Victor. And the red barn is where you bring your keys. If you no longer want the snacks, that 8 million snacks that you had for sequestration yesterday, then bring them to the red barn, and if anybody wants snacks, take those snacks. Okay, because I'm pretty sure my car's not going to fit all of them, and I'm pretty sure Blanche is going to put them in all of our cars, because I heard there's piles. So, as it goes, how are we doing? Not yet?
I don't know.
Are we ready?
Oh, yes.
No, you're good. You're now.
Okay, you can keep that one or no?
You guys are doing great. All right, are we ready? 2420.
2420. Thank you.
Thank you. You can use the mouse.
Or you need 5 minutes? Okay.
Click here or click here. I'm going to put it in.
As soon as she gets out of your way, I'll
You want to try it?
If we introduce our team, does that count?
Oh, that can be your 5 minutes, so you can do that first. So wait till she gets out of the way.
Yeah, got it. Team number 2420. He's just going to check and make sure he knows how to advance real quick. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to go back. Yeah. All right, I think we are.
Slides aren't on the
Yeah.
screen.
If we, can you guys put it on screen, please? All right.
Okay, so your 5 minutes is going, so just introduce yourself and let me know when you're done.
So, I'm Kyla. This is Kaylin, Erastus, Doreen, and Declan.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
And go.
Good morning, owners and stakeholders of the Apple Hill Farm. You have tasked us with developing a comprehensive renewable energy plan to ensure problem-free development of renewable energy for the future Brothers Farm. This plan must include 2 types of renewable energy to provide 75% of their farm's electricity, as well as maple syrup facility, irrigation, and agricultural best management practices. These goals must meet the requirements of New York's clean energy standards and have minimal impact on the area's human and natural resources. To achieve this, we have developed a plan comprised of 6 major goals: assessment, site selection, farmland development, environmental conservation, economic viability, and enhancement of sociocultural benefits.
As recommended by the Climate Change Resource Center, the first 6 months of our plan will be used to assess the area's pre-existing human and natural resources. The 399 acres of the Apple Hill Farm are a diverse mosaic of aquatic habitat, forested land, and prime farmland, each with their key role in the local environment. With 150 acres of available prime farmland, the Future Brothers rely heavily on orchard produce, small-scale cattle ranching, and cash crops to make a profit. With a combined area of 10 acres, the apple and peach orchards are a key part of the Apple Hill economy. However, these trees are threatened by the introduction of a new species, the spotted lanternfly, which has wreaked havoc and decimated orchards and vineyards across the United States. To the northwest of the orchard, the Future Brothers grow cash crops such as cilantro, spring mix, and winter rye. extensive tilling is used to aerate the soil, and nutrients are often spread to increase crop yield.
The 30 red Angus beef cows that are raised annually on the Apple Hill farm have access to 15 acres of pasture land positioned directly on prime farmland and providing nutritious forage for the cows. Marginal farmland that surrounds the cropland is used to produce hay products which are then stored on site and used to feed the cattle during winter months. Running directly through the middle of the property is Stony Creek, a Class C protected stream that is the farm's only source of water and provides critical habitat of the federally listed Blandings turtle. Because no other water sources have been developed, the cows are permitted to drink directly from the stream. With increased erosion and nutrient runoff from the pasture land, the creek has unusually high nitrate and nitrite levels as well as low dissolved oxygen. North of Stony Creek is 100 acres of forest habitat consisting of an even mix of oaks, maples, beeches, and ash. With 30% of the forest made up of tappable sugar maple trees, the forest is a viable resource for maple syrup production. In general, the forest is healthy and in good condition, but the ash trees have been infected with the deadly invasive pest, emerald ash borer. Nearly 100% of the ash trees are infected and will die within the next 5 to 6 years.
The second part of assessment is identification of interest groups and their concerns. John and Joe Future would like to diversify their energy sources and increase energy security through development of 2 types of renewable energy while maintaining their current operating levels. A local action group wants to restrict the development of solar arrays larger than 5 acres and wind turbines over 100 feet tall. The statewide renewable energy group is lobbying against the implementation of such ordinances, citing the overall positive impact of renewable technologies. Obeying local laws and following zoning ordinances is a concern of the local government. Concerns of utilities need to be identified, as they are essential to the renewable energy's connection to the grid. The local community worries that the renewable energy will negatively impact aesthetics. Lastly, it is essential to ensure that disadvantaged communities receive energy justice.
The second goal of our comprehensive plan is to select the sites for our 2 renewable energy projects. The first project is a solar array which will provide 600 kilowatts of energy and will take up 3 acres. The site we selected for the array is located in the southwest portion of the Apple Hill property and is alongside a substantial county highway. This site utilizes marginal land in order to avoid harming prime farmland. This site is relatively flat with a 0 to 8% slope and faces southeast to maximize absorption of solar radiation. The solar site will have access to the power line which runs along the road, providing a nearby point of interconnection to the grid. We also recommend installing a bidirectional meter to allow excess power produced to be released into the grid. Lastly, the site of the solar array is a quarter-mile away from Stony Creek and will not affect the wetland areas. In selecting the site, we have also avoided damage to forested areas.
Adjacent to the solar farm, we propose a wind generation facility large enough to meet the farm's remaining power needs and small enough to maintain aesthetics for local landowners. Consisting of 2 90-foot wind turbines, this wind farm will generate approximately 200 kilowatts, or enough to meet the Future Brothers' goal of 75% renewable power used on their farm. Similar to our solar development, this site does not overlap with any prime farmland acreage and thus maintains the agricultural potential of the surrounding lands. In compliance with the local ordinances, our turbines do not exceed 100 feet in height, and we recommend the planting of trees strategically placed to block neighbors' views of the turbines and maintain local aesthetics. Wind energy has little effect on aquatic ecosystems, but even so, we have taken care to avoid riparian areas and preserve habitat for species such as the Blandings turtle. As our site is situated on early successional shrubland, we will not have to remove any trees from the area. This will preserve the forested area required by the northern long-eared bat. As noted on the wind roses, the prevailing wind is generally from the southwest. Thus, we recommend that the turbines are pointed approximately in that direction. This will maximize power output and increase available energy on the farm.
The fourth major goal of our plan is development of farmland. The Future Brothers would like us to install an orchard irrigation system and a heating system to protect blossoms and fruit from late frosts. This system will keep fruit warm enough, protecting it from late frost and ensuring that the farm's income isn't lost. We have also decided to install clean-burning, propane-fueled orchard heaters. These heaters provide a clean-burning, efficient, cost-effective option for orchard heating, while being easy to use, only requiring one pressure regulator. Installation of an orchard irrigation system will provide additional water for trees, maximizing growth and increasing crop yield. The irrigation will require installation of pumps in the nearby irrigation pond and transportation of water to the orchard via a pipeline.
Another step in the development process is to aid the Future Brothers with their plans to install a sugar bush operation. We recommend removing all the ash trees which have been killed by the emerald ash borer in order to provide increased canopy space for the sugar maples. The sugar bush should be sited at the southeastern end of the maple bush area to avoid the wetland located in the northeastern corner, which provides essential habitat for the threatened Blandings turtle. A sugar shack can be installed near the cash crop field with a reverse osmosis system and a boiling pan to turn the sap into syrup. This sugar bush will provide an additional source of money to the farmers, diversifying their income and lessening financial risks involved with farming.
Another important part of development is maintaining the health of 30 head of red Angus beef cattle while also protecting Stony Creek. This creek is home to many native species, such as the New York State threatened Blandings turtle. The farmers want to implement grazing system to improve soil health, reduce dry hay use, and improve cattle living. Currently, the cows use the stream for drinking water, since it runs through the center of the grazing area and there are no other separate water sources on the farm. Consequently, the bovine fecal matter has caused increased levels of nitrate and nitrite and has decreased the dissolved oxygen in the stream. Therefore, we recommend installing a wooden bridge across the stream with railings to keep the cattle from entering the stream. This will improve water quality and protect aquatic life. Additionally, we recommend the Future Brothers implement rotational grazing by dividing the rangeland into 6 sections. To ensure soil health is not degraded by overuse, the cattle will be rotated every 7 days. To provide a water source for the cows, we recommend installing a pipeline along the dividing fence to pump water into the center of the 2 main sections. This will provide a source of drinking water for the cows while keeping them out of the stream. Moreover, a perimeter fence will be built 45 feet from the stream bank to further prevent fecal contamination.
Environmental conservation is the 4th major goal of our plan, and we have incorporated many strategies to reduce negative impacts to natural resources. One important decision we have made is to avoid building on prime farmland. According to the Wildlife Habitat Council, maintaining early successional habitat on the solar farm provides nesting sites for grassland birds and increases insect populations. These pollinator-friendly plants will help to increase crop yields in nearby fields. Additionally, we recommend the Future Brothers convert to reduced tillage or no-till farming. This will reduce erosion and enhance the health of soils and crops. Preliminary soil testing around the solar and wind farm with ongoing monitoring will establish a baseline and ensure no future contamination of soils.
The next step in ensuring environmental protection of the area is to address the aquatic ecosystems present. Thus, we recommend planting a riparian buffer on both sides of Stony Creek to protect the water from contamination by the cattle and surrounding fields. According to the Yale School of Forestry, riparian zones filter pollutants, trap sediments, and buffer stormwater runoff. Additionally, by protecting the area's wetlands, our plan will benefit species such as the threatened Blandings turtle. The bridge we recommend installing for cattle to utilize in crossing the stream will protect water quality by keeping fecal matter and other contaminants out of the water.
Additionally, the perimeter fence we recommend installing along the stream will keep cows from entering this water and causing further contamination. Lastly, ongoing water quality monitoring will ensure that the measures we have taken remain effective and keep the water clean.
The last consideration of our environmental protection goal is to protect the forested land on the Apple Hill farm. The first action we recommend is hiring a professional forester to give advice and aid in efficiency in forestry management practices. This will ensure that all actions taken that affect forests are well thought through and effective. Another action we recommend is installation of bat houses in the sugarbush forest. This will provide important habitat for bat species such as the critically threatened northern long-eared bat. Maintaining forest health will also mitigate the effects of invasive species prevalent in the area. These species include the emerald ash borer and the spotted lanternfly, which can decimate forests, especially those in poor health.
The fifth major goal of our renewable energy plan is economic viability. We acknowledge that our plan will incur significant initial investment. According to the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, the average cost to implement 3 acres of solar panels is approximately $500,000. The price of the 2 windmills is about $100,000 per windmill, or $200,000 total. The water systems and pumps for both the cattle watering system and orchard irrigation will be around $10,000. The USDA has found that cattle stream crossings cost $2,000, while the anti-frost heaters for the orchard will be around $3,000. In addition, the reverse osmosis machine and the maple sapping equipment will add another $25,000. All told, the estimated price tag of our plant is approximately $740,000.
To help reduce these costs, we have established several cost-reducing measures. The New York State Energy Research and Development Authority will pay $1,000 for every kilowatt hour produced. In addition, the Conservation Reserve Program from the USDA will pay $500 per acre of fenced-off wetlands and streams. The project's immediate energy cost savings are about 50% of current expenditures. It will take 5 years to cover the startup costs, and the savings over the installation's lifetime are $3 million. Furthermore, New York Village Law 487 provides a 15-year tax exemption on properties with renewable energy structures. Finally, the Federal Inflation Reduction Act provides tax credits that cover up to 30% of initial investments on renewable energy.
To fully appreciate these benefits, we must first consider the cost of doing nothing. Failure to invest in renewable energy has serious, long-lasting consequences. The Renewable Energy Institute has found that energy production costs are steadily rising, while electricity rates are rising steeply as well. In addition, without a comprehensive plan, there may be increased economic penalties and missed funding opportunities for the Apple Hill farm. With no clean energy development, the municipality would fail to comply with New York's Clean Energy Standard, which requires 70% renewable energy production by the year 2030. Each generation facility that is not developed is a missed opportunity to diversify the local electricity system and provide green job opportunities for local residents.
Addressing sociocultural issues is the sixth major goal of our plan. An important consideration is aligning our plan with political mandates and government agencies. For instance, we must ensure that our plan follows the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act's requirement of 70% renewable energy by 2030. Additionally, our strategies will be in compliance with the requirements of the Clean Energy Standard of New York's Climate Act. Our plan obeys the Clean Water Act through the protection of Stony Creek and wetlands located on the farm. Moreover, installation of bat houses and preservation of aquatic habitat ensures that the comprehensive plan meets the requirements of the Endangered Species Act. Finally, installing renewable energy also ensures that the farm produces less emissions, working towards the Renewable Portfolio Standards goals of 40% emissions reductions by 2030 and 80% emissions reductions by 2040.
Public outreach and education are also vital for success. Therefore, we recommend hosting informational meetings and webinars to discuss the project with local stakeholders and field their questions and concerns. Another way to adequately address the concerns of the local community is through open houses. These are a valuable way to answer the public's questions and meet their concerns. Other ways to garner public support include fun runs and community barbecues. These events would further foster clean energy awareness in the area.
Addressing the concerns of interest groups and stakeholders is essential to the success of our plan. Through careful planning and installation methods, our plan ensures that the future brothers will have an effective source of renewable energy, increased energy security, and a diversified energy source. The solar array and wind turbines also meet the standards of the local action group, since the array is less than 5 acres and the turbines are under 100 feet tall. Our plan is careful to adhere to the requirements of local, state, and federal laws and follows all zoning ordinances. Through our planning, we will ensure that the utilities are able to voice their concerns and support us in connecting the renewable energy to the grid. Informational meetings and community events will ensure the concerns of the disadvantaged groups will be addressed. Due to more pollinator habitat and utilization of the sugar bush, the community will have access to local honey and syrup. They will also benefit from increased job opportunities on the Apple Hill farm. In order to ensure that the concerns about aesthetics are addressed, we recommend installing a hedge alongside of the road near the solar array.
In summary, we have presented you with a plan that balances renewable energy development with protection of regional resources and stakeholder interests. By implementing our strategies, you can successfully develop renewable energy for both current and future generations of the Apple Hill farm and the local community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your excellent presentation and congratulations on making it to this point. In your planning process and work with the Future family, could you provide some examples of alternatives that didn't make it to the final plan and why?
So one of the alternatives we thought about was hydroelectric. We could have used it on the Stony Brook stream, which runs through the middle of the property. There is a steep part along that stream that would have been possible to implement hydro. However, the negative impacts to the aquatic life, we didn't want to risk that. And the stream is already impacted by the bovine fecal matter, so it's already unhealthy. And we wanted to improve the health of the stream, so that's why we didn't use hydropower.
Some of the aquatic life we would be protecting by not installing a hydro system includes the New York State threatened Blandings turtle and other important creatures in the stream.
We considered implementing agrivoltaics on our solar farm, but we realized that there are very few early successional habitats on this property. It's mostly forested land or heavily farmed prime farmland or orchard. So we decided to leave that for early successional habitat for pollinator species that could benefit local farmers by pollinating their crops and increasing crop yields.
We could have also done photovoltaics, but we didn't want to because they just have cows, and we'd have to make the solar panels higher, which would be more costly, so we didn't feel that it was worth it.
Yeah, like she said, we thought about doing dual-use grazing, but there's like the livestock has plenty of land, and our solar farm is just 3 acres, so we might as well just stick with early successional habitat because that's what this property needs most.
Another benefit of the early successional habitat and pollinator-friendly plants would be that there's beehives on the property which are portable. They could be moved to our site. This would increase honey amounts.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. That was pretty awesome, I thought. I guess I'm just wondering, like, so you had 6 hours yesterday to do this, and I'm sure everything just went perfectly smoothly. But I was hoping that you could share one of your challenges, maybe a difficult part about this project, and then maybe tell us how you got through that. So.
Yeah. What I find the most difficult is just like getting along with all these people for 6 hours.
So we have in our state oral presentation we implemented a solar farm on a property in New York, and this time we had to do 2 kinds of renewable energy, and that was challenging to find a place for both of them to go. And also we had trouble converting kilowatt hours to kilowatts.
Say one more thing? Yeah. So one of the other problems I found was like I couldn't find any like costs of any sort. So we had to think of other like citations to use, and we couldn't use any of the ones from the plan.
So nice job, you guys. Great presentation by all of you. This is a question about the solar panels and community. What typically happens in communities where solar panels come in. Did you all consider some of the negative attributes of a solar array and end of life cycle and end of farming of that pasture and et cetera?
Yeah, so in our solar array, we definitely considered the community aspect of this. So that's why we are recommending planting a hedge along the road, because there's a lot of aesthetic complaints in the area. And the same for the wind as well, to create a screen so that it's pleasing.
We also considered implementing informational meetings with the public before we even start our project to ensure that we can hear their concerns and make sure they're addressed. And we would continue these meetings throughout the installation and the running of the solar farm.
We will be also putting in shrubs or trees along the road to block the solar panels from sight, but it won't shade the solar panels. And also around those windmills, which will be more obvious, but at least it will hide some of the eyesore.
So you're wondering, like, at the end of the life cycle, these solar panels, which is approximately 25 years to 30 years, we will take another assessment of the solar panels and see what condition they're in, and if they're still usable, we could upgrade them, and then the old solar panels we could donate to the local community to use for one of their somebody else's house, or if they are in too poor condition, we'll make sure they are recycled correctly.
If the landowners decide to go back to farming on that piece of land after the life cycle of the solar panels end, that will be possible because we are planting early successional species on that land, which will maintain soil nutrients and soil health.
You mentioned that this project will have some positive benefits for disadvantaged communities. Can you talk a little bit more about the benefits that the project will have?
So one of the benefits is any excess power that the solar farm makes, or in the wind farm, will be put into the local grid. And this excess power could help buffer spikes of electricity during hot summer months to communities that are disadvantaged and may suffer from energy poverty or insecurity.
And it's also with our meetings that ongoing meetings we'll be holding during the course of the project, we'll keep taking into account their concerns, which may change, their concerns and questions, and keep implementing that into the process.
Excellent presentation and great teamwork. Thank you very much. I want to talk a little bit about the forestry aspect of it, and if I missed this, please just let me know and correct me. You mentioned that you would possibly remove the ash trees due to the disease of the invasive species. Did you factor in that cost in your budget?
So The New York State firewood regulation states that any infected trees with emerald ash borer cannot be transported off the property. So there is minimal cost to get a forester in to just remove the trees. We're already hiring one to consult us. Maybe he could help us with removing the trees. And so we'd have to leave them down as downwoody material for wildlife, which would benefit wildlife populations in the area regardless.
Yeah, before we would remove any trees, we would hire a forester to check out the forest and make sure we are not harming anything by removing these ash trees.
So you asked about the budget. As you can see there, there's for the sapping operation, there's $25,000. That the removal of the ash trees is part of that.
Thank you very much, and compliments that you realized that you couldn't do it all yourself, that you needed to hire an expert, at least in this area, for the forest. So that's a good move for your client. You mentioned though one thing with the trees that if you took them down, you would leave them on the property for the wildlife. Would that help rid yourself of the invasive species?
So the whole point of their New York State firewood regulation is that the species cannot be spread by transportation of wood products. So it would actually rid us of the species because we'd get rid of all the ash trees. So yeah, I guess.
This leaving them on the forest floor would also benefit the structural diversity of the forest, which is another important part of managing the forest.
Also, this invasive species eats out the cambium layer of the tree, so the tree has to be alive, or like whatever. If it's partly dead, it has to be somewhat alive for it to survive. So once the trees are totally dead, there's no more cambium layer. The creature's eaten all of that. The creature will go not be there anymore.
We will also take care not to harvest any trees in the season where the northern long-eared bat is most active. We will leave the forest alone for that so it can have its time in the forest, and we will only harvest maybe in winter when it's hibernating.
So, is Natalie still in the room? Hey, Natalie. You want to come up here so we can pull the postcards / whatever we called them? What do we call them? That's what I called them. Punch cards, passport, postcards, the little thingies. We're going to do that one first. Okay. Sure, yeah. So, we need a volunteer. Oh, right there, right there. What am I doing? So, we're ready to
So as a task, when you guys checked in, you had the punch cards, you had to visit all the vendors at the career day, which I hope you guys learned all about. So our
But
first
give us-
prize,
give us 5 though, so the judges can finish. Thank you.
is from our friends from Allegheny Farm Services.
Team number 2420. Ah. We'll make sure they get it. All right. So that is from one of our sponsors that was here on Sunday. Again, we slightly forget the days of the week, as I'm sure you guys do too. While Natalie's working on that, I wanted to take a second to recognize our local sponsors here in New York. USDA NRCS of New York was a huge contributor to this event. I don't know if any of our state people are here today, but I know some of the staff and retired staff are here today. So a huge thank you to USDA NRCS. We've got NYACD, that's the New York Association of Conservation Districts, Farm Credit East, Smithfield, Cannon, USDA NRCS at the federal level. The districts, as you can see up here behind me, we have our wonderful sponsors. The one in the middle, that's in the cool New York. Some of them are a little bit darker. Those are ones that gave a little bit more, but most of our soil and water districts in New York State provided funding so you guys could be here in the Finger Lakes and at Hobart. The ones that gave a little bit more were Montgomery, Niagara, Suffolk, Tompkins, Nassau counties, and NYSERDA also gave a donation. So, we ready for the next one? So this is for the big box of fun. That has been donated by the New York State Envirothon. Have Blanche do it. Oh, wait. Over there. Hang on. Thank you. Oh, you guys are so good. All right, are we ready for a drum roll? All right, give me a drum roll. Team 2430. So that is these guys right here. Awesome. So while we are letting our judges finish up for a second here, let's do another couple. I think Al left though, unfortunately. So how many venomous snakes are there in the Everglades? A number. Up here. Hang on, we got to get a couple mics real quick. All right, arm up. Oh, but Susan, help us out.
3.
No, but you're so close. Next, anyone?
4.
Yes, 4 it is. What year did the Clean Water Act pass? Ooh, 1972. He's got it. I got him. I heard him. How far away can a wolf smell its prey? Ooh. Right here.
3 miles.
Oh my gosh, you're so close. So close. Anyone else? Go right here, maybe? Oh, wait.
5 miles?
Nope.
4 miles?
Nope. I know, now we're just grasping at straws. Nope.
3.5.
Nope. Nope. Okay, in the back. Nope. Nope.
2.
Yes. 2 it is. How many flowers do honeybees have to visit to make 1 pound of honey? Ooh, how many flowers do honeybees have to visit to make... Run here, go ahead.
101?
Hang on, I lost it on my paper. I don't need to kill time. No.
I got one.
Okay.
1,000.
I know.
1,000?
Nope. Okay.
40?
Nope, much
I
higher.
got one chance.
Okay, Natalie.
50,000.
Nope.
100,000?
Yes. I'm gonna go with that. All right, are we ready? Yes? Judges good? All right, the next team up is number 2442.
Do we have a clicker? Or just use that?
Chaz, where'd the clicker go?
Might be blind. Yeah, I might be missing something.
Chaz?
I can use the computer if it's.
Well, there was one, so I just don't know what happened.
Yes, ma'am. There we go.
Computer? Yep, just a computer.
Okay.
Perfect. You guys.
Okay. Give it another 30 seconds. Yeah. I'm gonna breathe for a bit.
Okay.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Good. Let's do it. Let's do it. You good?
That's good. Ready? And start.
Good afternoon. We are the USDA NRCS consulting team. I'm Luke.
I'm Emmett. I'm Whit.
I'm Nate. And I'm Michael. And today we're excited to present to you our plan to help build a more sustainable Apple Hill Farms. Here is a quick roadmap of our proposal. We will begin by addressing the topic of renewable energy itself. Then we will dive into our proposed solutions and certain considerations for your farm. To conclude, we will connect these solutions with various stakeholders from outside of the farm to illustrate the broad sweeping positive effects of your decision to turn the idea of a sustainable future into reality.
So why should we transition to renewable energy? Well, it boils down to three main points. Firstly, all humans need energy. Energy in its various forms is an essential part to civilizations across the world. Historically, humans have relied heavily on non-renewable energy sources such as coal and oil to power various sectors, including transportation and industry. However, these traditional non-renewable energy sources bring with them numerous negative effects, including the release of greenhouse gases that contribute to the acceleration of global warming. In fact, according to the United Nations, over 75% of all greenhouse gas emissions and almost 90% of CO2 emissions comes from fossil fuels. Although many of these impacts are experienced by people all across the world, it is important to recognize the inequitable distribution of some of these effects on certain communities. For example, according to a 2023 study by the Greenpeace, African Americans and Hispanic Americans experienced over 50% more particulate matter air pollution than they contributed. Therefore, because of non-renewable energy's environmental, social, political, and cultural effects, it is crucial that countries across the globe begin or continue their transition to renewable energy and a more equitable energy system. Not only is renewable energy significantly more environmentally friendly, but it also increases energy diversity, security, and resiliency.
As revealed by New York's energy legislation, such as Clean Energy Standard and the Climate Act, the state is a leader in the transition to renewable energy. Like the state as a whole, the Future Brothers are also leading the charge to a more renewable future. We hope that their leadership within their community and interest in renewables can positively influence and educate others in their community on renewable energy. With any change, we must consider the many groups who might be affected. In this case, important stakeholders include Apple Hill Farms itself, the neighbors surrounding the property, the overall community, the environment, especially its endangered species and local natural resources, the future generations, and the renewable energy companies that are already making a change happen. It is crucial to consider these interest groups because of a variety of factors, including the community's values and fairness, the combating of the NIMBY syndrome, which stands for Not in My Backyard, education, home rule in New York, and economic reliance on community.
Here's our plan for Apple Hill Farms. We plan to conduct various solar installations as well as forest management. We plan to install rotational grazing sites as well as a riparian buffer and fences. We plan to set up drip irrigation in the fields, as well as install heaters in the orchards to protect from frost. We also plan to lead various public outreach events to stay connected to the community, and we also want to have frequent evaluations over the state of the farm in order to determine what we need to change for the future.
The heart of our plan is the installation of solar panels, both in the field and on the roofs. We have planned for solar photovoltaic panels capable of 100 kilowatts on the rooftops of the farmhouses, barn, and barnyard. In addition, we will install solar water heating systems on the farmhouse roofs. These systems are especially efficient because of the more direct energy transfer and will provide Apple Hill Farms a great reduction in their energy consumption.
In addition to the rooftop solar systems, we also suggest the implementation of a 100 kilowatt agrivoltaic system southwest of the maple stand. These panels will have adjustable axes to change orientation when necessary to avoid snowfall accumulation. We also suggest planting wildflowers underneath these panels. The wildflowers will serve the dual purpose of increasing pollinator populations while also increasing the efficiency of the panels through the cooling effect of transpiration. Our team has carefully considered the construction process of this facility, as we understand the highly connected nature between our management practices and your resources. One such example of this careful consideration is our decision to remove the topsoil of the construction site beforehand and to reinstate it only after construction has been completed. We also will only conduct construction during dry conditions. These practices will help to minimize soil erosion and soil compaction. Prioritizing soil health will help us build wildflower populations that are strong and that support pollinators, which will be beneficial to all the surrounding vegetation. Next, we will address some forestry concerns, including integrated pest management, the development of silviculture practices, and the beginnings of maple syrup production.
The most relevant pests in the forest of Apple Hill Farms are the emerald ash borer and the spotted lanternfly. In both cases, we will use integrated pest management strategies to keep those under control. For the emerald ash borer, the forester should first identify ash trees that might be susceptible to an attack. Then there's the option to treat these trees with an insecticide injection that provides protection for 3 years. Foresters or the future brothers themselves should continuously monitor their ash trees for signs of affliction, such as D-shaped holes in the bark or tree mortality. Long-term biological control can be achieved through the introduction of parasitic wasps, which are specialists and will not harm our bee populations. Finally, there are some new experimental control methods that should be considered on an ongoing basis. For the spotted lanternfly, foresters should identify and remove tree of heaven, an invasive tree species that allows the lanternfly to complete its life cycle. With these trees removed, the future brother should monitor for honeydew mist and egg masses, removing them whenever they find them. As a last resort, treatment with the insecticide dinoteffurin can be considered. As far as other forest management goes, the first step is a timber cruise to evaluate stand composition, basal area, and other forest qualities. At that point, it might be advantageous to control herbaceous invasive species. Additionally, in the stand being used for maple syrup production, only 30% of trees are sugar maples with diameters of 6 inches or greater. While these trees are technically tappable, it's advisable to wait until trees have diameters of 10 to 12 inches before tapping is begun. In order to facilitate this growth, foresters should consult a stocking guide and perform thinning cuts wherever necessary in order to give these trees space to grow. On the other hand, in the wooded areas that are not being used for syrup production, group selection cuts should be performed in order to encourage the development of an uneven age stand with a layered canopy that acts like a young forest and provides habitat for smaller wildlife. The wood and other residue from these cuts can be used to fuel the arch necessary for maple syrup production. Now, for maple syrup production, we do need to construct storage containers and a facility for boiling the sap. These structures will be located as indicated on the map and will feature solar panels on their roofs in order to contribute to our overall electricity generation and to maximize our efficiency of space. To transport the sap from the trees to those facilities, we will use plastic tubing like that indicated in the pictures before.
To begin our grazing proposal, we suggest building a fence along the border of the wetland and establishing a fence crossing area to keep the cows out of the river and wetland habitat. Next, we will establish a riparian buffer zone to protect the aquatic environment. This buffer zone will contain vegetation, acting as a transition between agricultural and aquatic areas. The next step we suggest is to rotationally graze the farm's cows by shifting the cows from one paddock to another every 7 days. The soil health of the pasture will improve, providing better feed for the cows. Lastly, we suggest installing a new water pump to provide the cows necessary hydration.
These fences keep the cows from excreting manure into the river, further preventing harmful algal blooms as well as cultural eutrophication. And in turn, the prevention of these things will bring the dissolved oxygen amount in the water up back to a healthy standard. The riparian buffer zone will help to stabilize the sides of the riverbank, and it will also help and act as a filter, stopping any runoff from entering the creek, as well as filtering the runoff that does make its way through. This will reduce the amount of nitrates and nitrites that enter the water body and also contribute to cultural eutrophication. Rotational grazing allows for the soils and plants to build themselves back up and become healthier before the cattle come to graze again. According to the New York State Soil and Water Conservation Community, livestock manure from a prescribed rotational grazing system is less likely to harm the water pollution, is less likely to harm the quality of the water than from a continuous water source or grazing source.
To address irrigation, we propose installing a drip irrigation system on the apple and peach orchard, as well as replacing our cash crop spray irrigation with drip irrigation. By using drip irrigation, we can reduce water loss by a factor of 10 and minimize surface runoff. These positive effects will help the farm make the most of the existing resources and save money in the long run.
In order to minimize the amount of damage that frost does to the orchards, we recommend the installation of ag heat propane heaters in the orchards. These heaters' unique design and use of propane allows for a larger amount of heat to enter the plants, further increasing crop production efficiency, especially when compared to more outdated heaters. Also, this unique design makes these heaters extremely popular among orchards, much like the ones at Apple Hill Farms. From an environmental standpoint, propane is insoluble in water and non-toxic, eliminating any chance of soil or water pollution. Also, the environmentally safe orchard heating for frost and freeze study found that when compared to other heaters, the ag heat heaters produced the most heat while using the smallest amount of fuel and also had the fewest carbon emissions.
Here's our completed timeline. This timeline illustrates the planning and construction process of each of our proposed solutions. In the short term, the construction process of each of these solutions will be completed within the next 2 years. In the long term, the economic and environmental benefits of these proposed solutions will continue for decades to come.
As my colleagues have already described, our implementations and suggestions will undoubtedly affect and likely benefit the natural resources in the area. Whether it be agrivoltaics, riparian buffers and fencing, or forest management, our solutions will benefit soils, aquatics, and forestry. Now it is important to address wildlife, especially the endangered Blanding's turtle and northern long-eared bat. Regarding the Blanding's turtle, it is crucial to protect turtle habitat. We believe that the creation of a riparian buffer and more young forests will provide the turtle with abundant habitat. In regards to the northern long-eared bat, habitat loss isn't of primary concern, but rather it is white nose syndrome, a fungus that won't really be affected by any of our implementations. Still, we can protect this bat by limiting any forest management to the bat's hibernation period and by leaving snags in the forest. Finally, in regards to songbirds and other wildlife, we suggest delaying hayfield mowing to at least mid-July when the bird young have already fledged.
Just as it's important to consider the environmental effects of our proposal, we must also consider its social, political, and cultural effects as well. Specifically, we acknowledge the tradition and right to farm in the way the future family has for 5 generations. It's with this respect in mind that our proposal allows the family to continue its traditions and way of life without significant interruption or change. By siting our renewable energy systems away from prime farmland and use areas, the future brothers will be able to continue farming in the same tradition as their fathers and grandfathers before them.
Our team recognizes that the community's interest in renewable energy is balanced by a general sense of unease regarding its implementation. By using non-disruptive forms of renewable energy like solar panels, which are silent and can be easily covered by privacy vegetation, we hope to use Apple Hill Farms as a renewable energy pilot program in the area to give the community a concrete example of how renewable energy can provide positive benefits in their day-to-day lives. This pilot program we also anticipate will serve to mediate political disputes such as the developing restrictive ordinances on renewable energy in the area. Additionally, the combination of our annual assessments with community outreach programs such as open houses will allow us to share Apple Hill Farm's renewable energy progress with the community while also taking advantage of the opportunity to gain valuable feedback from relevant stakeholders.
In addition to these social, political, and cultural considerations, there are also key economic relationships we must address. Through the NYSERDA Solar Incentive Program and the federal tax incentive, we have reduced the cost per watt of solar panel installed from $3 to just 99 cents. Additionally, during the construction of the solar panels on the farm, it will only be a nuisance for a temporary amount of time.
Despite these costs for our solar project, it does bring several significant benefits. Firstly, after 20 years, our panels should generate around $20,000 per 11 kilowatts produced, according to the Energy Sage Solar Database. Furthermore, the addition of wildflowers around the panels and the solar water heating systems will increase pollination and water heating efficiency.
The costs of installing a rotational grazing system, riparian buffer, and fences will largely be offset by the USDA and RCS Conservation Reserve Program, as well as by a best management incentive program.
We believe that the benefits of the grazing, fencing, and riparian buffer systems will significantly outweigh their costs. Not only will these implementations improve water quality, reduce soil erosion, and increase soil health, but the cows themselves will also benefit.
Considering our forest management plan, we must also allocate funds toward the construction of maple syrup infrastructure, the installation of pipes, the cutting of trees, and the conducting of surveys and pest management.
Forest management will bring an important new monetary benefit, as the farm will now earn revenue from syrup sales. Also, by using thoughtful forest management, we believe that the forest health will also improve.
We must also allocate funds towards the installation of heaters for the orchards.
In terms of the new heating systems, the primary benefit is reduced loss to frost, which creates more revenue for the farm's peach and apple sales.
Finally, because we use winterize as a cover crop, we plan to help meet the upfront costs required to install drip irrigation using funds made through the cover crop best management incentive program.
Our new irrigation system will reduce water requirements, allowing for the farm to save on their water bill.
Now, let's look at the cost of doing nothing, which in our case would be a mistake. Over the next 20 years, Apple Hill Farms has the potential to lose over $500,000 in potential savings from failing to transition towards renewable energy and improving the efficiency of its existing systems. While the monetary losses are striking, without making any changes, Apple Hill Farms will continue down a path of contributing towards global warming, degrading the local and soil and aquatic resources, and allowing its forests to succumb to pests and diseases. For these reasons, it is undeniably important to take our proposed steps toward a more sustainable future.
The beneficial effects of this proposal extend far beyond our farm. By prioritizing natural resources and investing in the future, Apple Hill Farms will make a difference. Whether it's improving your neighbor's aquatic ecosystems today, or giving your grandchildren the opportunity to see a Blandings turtle 40 years from now. Every step that you take towards a more sustainable future is along with New York State and ambitious goals to meet the renewable energy that we need.
When assessing these effects, it is necessary to consider the alternative, doing nothing, which comes with its own costs. In fact, the choice of inaction is not a decision to do nothing at all. It's a decision to continue to invest in a failing system, one that's driving us toward the wasteland Rachel Carson describes in her Silent Spring. That's why it's necessary to take concrete and well-thought-out steps into the protean field of renewable energy. In his report on the historical interactions between energy and civilization, Václav Smil identifies energy as the only universal currency. In order to protect future access to this currency, we must ensure that our methods of obtaining it now are sustainable. The state of New York and the Future Brothers have made ambitious commitments toward that goal. Our plan strives to fulfill those commitments and set the standard for the replacement of an energy system that undermines us with one that supports us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation, and congratulations on all your work together and making it to this point. As the planning team for the future family, what alternatives did you consider, and why did they not make the final plan?
I'll begin speaking on that. The U.S. Department of Energy outlines a few central pillars when considering renewable energy developments. One of which is especially important for our considerations, is community support and the community perception of the project. In our case, in our community, renewable energy opinions are still in the gestational phase. People are still deciding what they think of them. There are ideas that they mention specifically aesthetics and noise complaints, and there's already restrictive ordinances on renewable energy that are being talked about. So in our case, we decided that it would be more beneficial to start with the least intrusive and disruptive forms of renewable energy, like solar, rather than a wind, so that we can garner public support early, because whatever steps we take in the next 2 to 5 years will be fundamental in establishing the community's opinions on renewable energy for this foreseeable future. So we want to garner that public support in order to be able to move forward with more potentially disruptive processes like the noise or the aesthetics of a wind turbine. In terms of hydroelectricity, it presented its own specific limitations, which my colleague Emmett will discuss.
When looking at the topography and hydrology of the farm, we determined that it would be best, in the event we used hydropower, to use an impulse turbine that relies on a high gradient of topography in order for the water to be able to power the turbine. But when we were looking at the highest points and steepest points of the farm, we realized that they were in the middle of pretty large areas of wetlands, and we determined that the hydropower turbine would be too much of a change of environment, especially to start constructing in a wetland, for it to be worth it. Additionally, the permit process to build a hydropower turbine is quite complicated, and especially because we would have to get a permit to build within a wetland, we determined that it wouldn't be feasible within the 2-year window.
Thank you.
So I was really glad to see your list of stakeholders, especially included future generations. So that was really nice to see. That said, who came up with that? I gotta ask. All of you. Okay, so, but that also presents a challenge. You're talking about a group of future people that have no voice, they can't vote. I was wondering if you can expand on how you, and this is really for everybody in every issue, but how do you, can you expand on just how you address the needs of future generations when, we all have to deal, they have the longest time to deal with these issues, so.
Yeah, I think that's something that we really do have to keep in mind. It's important to note that, as you said, the future generations do not currently have an active voice in it, and so that's why it's our responsibility as the ones making the changes to be the voice of future generations. So part of that comes from education on our end to communicate with the community of how we're taking into account future concerns. The other part of that is for us to educate the community about why they should be concerned about their future generations, why it's not in the future generations' best interest to consider with their current system, and how we, as a consulting firm and together in conjunction with the community, can make the changes that address that. I mean, we firmly believe that the changes that we're making are in the best interests of the future generations. But again, that's something that's challenging to navigate, and that's why we're focusing on having partnerships with the community, having opportunities to hear their feedback, to teach them, and then also, as the program grows, maybe having outreach for school trips or anything else that could help with education of future generations.
Nice job, you guys. Really good presentation. When you're looking at the different alternatives for coming up with the energy alternative to the standard grid, did you think about reliability, and if so, reliability of solar cells and how that would affect the farm?
Yes, sir. The main consideration we took into account was the variability of snow in the region, which is an important consideration. Having our panels to have the flexibility to rotate, the field panels, to really minimize that effect is important. while that will negatively affect our rooftop generation, we have ensured that the total energy production over the course of the year will be above that 75% goal, so that when we do hit dips, in a snowfall event or another unforeseen event, that the net energy output over the course of the year, when you factor in peaks and troughs, we'll still be hitting our goal of 75%.
Yeah, and just to provide some concrete evidence for that, as he's saying, we're not completely off the grid. And we don't have data for the peak energy consumption, but what we do have is an overall annual consumption. And with that, we tried to give ourselves a very generous estimate of what that peak consumption might look like, based on the figure that's given, which is 450,000 kilowatt hours a year for the farm. We tried to give ourselves some buffer in this estimation, and by doing that, the process for doing that was to call peak hours 6 times, 6 hours a day, and then not using any electricity during the rest of the time. And with that, it works out to having peaks of 220 kilowatts. So 75% of that is 165 kilowatts, and between the agrivoltaics on the ground, the rooftop solar, and with additional energy reduction methods, such as the solar water heating, we'll be hitting well above that 75% during full production, so that we can have that buffer for when things aren't going as smoothly.
There were a couple of terms that you used when you were discussing your forest management activities, one being timber crews and the second being snag. I was wondering if you guys could further define what you mean by those terms.
Yeah, so a timber cruise generally refers to the practice of going out into the woods to determine basal area and other factors of a forest, or qualities of a forest. We're using it a little bit more loosely here to encompass a wide variety of measurements, not just how much wood is there, but what are the trees looking like. We're going to do a stand assessment with all of that. So for example, trying to measure the amount of canopy that's open, the amount of interference from other vegetation, deer impact, anything that could affect the regeneration of our stand. And then the other term that you asked about was...
I can talk about that. Yeah, so snag is a standing dead tree, and like I mentioned from the slide, they're really valuable to a variety of wildlife, such as the northern long-eared bat that I talked about. So yeah, that's one important thing that we would like to consider and protect within the local forests.
Thank you guys on a great presentation and great teamwork. I also like to echo the statement of considering future generations, but it's not only all of us here and our children and grandchildren down the road, but it's the future generations that you mentioned of the wildlife, the wildflowers, the bees, the birds, as well as the animals that we already know are on this property. So thank you for including that. You did mention evaluations of the plan. I think in one instance you mentioned an annual one, but you have so many different components to the plan, whether it's planting the wildflowers in a certain area to attract the birds, to make sure you don't do any harvesting or other work so that the young birds can find their way in time. How would you arrange all of this? Would it be done by your team? Would you have experts come in to support that?
Yeah, so I think the first thing that we would do to address that is break those many different solution plans down into different categories. So have general assessments for our renewable energy generation, which we can measure through the output values, and then breaking it down, the wildlife and the forestry, I think would require more of an outside look, while our energy generation would be easier to take care of internally. One of my colleagues can talk about the forestry and the wildlife.
So yeah, a lot of what I was going to say is that with forestry, we will need to bring in outside experts, but that doesn't have to be, they don't have to be experts just for the purpose of these evaluations. A lot of our forest management strategies require ongoing input from these experts, such as, silviculture doesn't end after 1 year. We're going to continue to manage these forests to be as healthy and as productive as possible. Additionally, the future brothers will be a source of checking us to make sure that we're still on track, because it's in their best interest to make sure that everything is running smoothly. For example, by educating the future brothers about how to identify the spotted lanternfly, emerald ash borer, or anything. Okay, thank you.
Okay, before we all run out of the room, couple little reminders. Tonight, 6 o'clock, dinner, you need to be there seated at 6. Okay? Seated? Got that? 6 o'clock, Bristol Gym, correct? Correct. Okay, just another reiteration on the keys. So if you are traveling on a shuttle bus to the airport, and I think some of you guys are going pretty early, you can hand your keys to Vic. All right, otherwise you will see us at the Red Barn. Then you'll have an opportunity to see Blanche's squirrels. No, unless she packed them up. Did you pack them up? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll get her another one, don't worry. Also, before you get up, did I hit everything we needed to for the most part? Okay, before you guys get up, I have a huge favor for you. We have a fun event in here tonight. We need a little help with some moving things around. If you are in the white chairs, please fold them up. Don't do it till I'm done. Please fold them up and put them out in the hallway up against the, and try and be organized about it so they're not flying all over the place so it's easier for us to move. The brown chairs, they need to go against the walls. Also, a few need to be stacked, okay? So the set that this amazing Blanche is sitting in, let's stack those. And this set that these beautiful ladies are sitting in, let's stack those. All right, the rest up against the wall, right, Al? And if you do that, we'll really appreciate it. See you at dinner. Yes.
How early is someone going to be at the Red Barn?
What time do you need?